Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Bier, founder of the Edge AI Envisioned Alliance, and really happy to be having this fireside chat with Dean Kamen, who, I say this not to flatter him, but because it's true, is the most interesting man in the world, at least if you're an engineer. I could talk with him for days and days about so many different topics, and really pleased that Dean has come here to share some of his current work and thinking. For those of you, if there's anyone left who doesn't know who Dean is, let me briefly introduce him, drawing on the introduction I gave when he was keynote speaker here in 2018. Dean is an innovator, but not just of things. He hopes to revolutionize attitudes, quality of life, and awareness. While an undergraduate, he developed the first portable infusion device, which delivers drug treatments that once required hospital care. And through DEKA Research and Development, he developed a portable dialysis machine, a vascular stent, and the iBot, a motorized wheelchair that climbs stairs. Kamen is a huge believer in education, and in 1989 established the nonprofit called FIRST to inspire teenagers to pursue careers in science and technology. FIRST sponsors lively annual competitions where students form teams to create the best robot. Several of Dean's recent projects involve the use of computer vision, and we're going to talk about a number of them today. Dean, thanks so much for joining us. I have a little bit of a confession to make. I first met Dean, 10, 15 years ago when we were both speakers at a conference. We met like at the backstage at the coffee machine, started talking. Once I realized who he was, I was awestruck. And we exchanged business cards. He wound up on the Alliance's mailing list, which, as you know, you never get off of. It's like the college alumni giving campaign. And after a few years, I noticed that some people from Dean's company were showing up at our conference. And I thought, that's weird. These are like mechanical engineering people. Why are they showing up at a computer vision conference? So I sent Dean an email. I said, I noticed you have people from your company showing up at our conference. I guess you're interested in computer vision. Why don't you come and talk at our conference? That was one of the best decisions I ever made. Dean came and gave a brilliant, really inspiring presentation. And one of the things he said, which has really stuck with me, is if you know Dean's work, things like the Segway scooter, or these infusion pumps and so on, it's all about feedback control. And of course, feedback control is nothing without sensors. Sensors are absolutely essential to feedback control. So Dean said in his presentation, think of like what's the most basic sensor, a limit switch, right? Some kind of thing moves to a point where it needs to stop, the limit switch signals that it's moved far enough and it needs to stop. And these limit switches are cheap and they're ubiquitous. They're used in all kinds of mechanical systems. Think about like a 3D printer, for example. And Dean said, well, eventually embedded computer vision-based cameras are going to be like limit switches. They're going to be used everywhere because they're this extremely flexible, universal kind of sensor that can enable all kinds of feedback control. And I thought, wow, that's a really important insight. I was telling my friend Carter here before the session, you ever have that situation where you think you've had an insight and then you meet someone else who has the insight squared? And you're like, I've been thinking too small. That was my experience when Dean made this statement. So Dean's been thinking really big, much bigger than I was, about the applicability of computer vision, including and especially as a kind of universal software-defined sensor in feedback control systems. So I'm really pleased that Dean is here today to talk about some of the work that he's been doing in his company and various other organizations that he's involved in that I think is using computer vision in ways that are really interesting. And it's not really about computer vision for computer vision's sake. It's about computer vision because it fulfills a key need towards some larger goal. So Dean, thanks so much for being here.